We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist, and it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Bloomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Bloomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen.
Well, good morning, all you loyal subjects. Got a big week ahead of us, a big day going. A lot of noise going around about a lot of things. I still haven't seen a ruling from the judge on the Reagan hearing, Janet. I thought maybe we'd have it Friday. Still haven't seen anything on that. Still haven't seen anything on these attorneys' new suit that's going to be filed, but it's going to happen. It has to be said, and we have to wake up and realize that, I mean, the American populace is purely in denial. I mean, they know about this. Everybody knows about this. This is so big, it's so catastrophic that people can't even talk about it. They can't even think about it. It's the ultimate denial. It's the greatest denial in human history, which is a subject matter that should never have been in denial. This should have been addressed the first day in a big, 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 big way. But it really is a cultural thing. I mean, you think about who we are as a people. What has this culture and this generation of person done in this country? Think about the Fed. I mean, I'm standing right here, I worked right on this building right here in 1987 when they named that fucking rat Greenspan to the Fed. I knew they were fucked then. And Ayn Rand running the Fed. I used to walk around, tug on her fucking clothes. Ayn Rand was a science fiction writer, atheist, born and raised in fucking Russia. Never claimed to be an economist. Alan Greenspan, a fucking full blown out fucking mentally ill lunatic. So what have we done? A stimulus interest rate that is so ridiculous. I mean, it's a negative interest rate. We're going down the same road Japan. Japan went down the same road in 1986. America led them down that fucking trail. I like how you people are saying, oh, the Nikkei's crashing post-Fukushima. Do you have any clue what the Nikkei was in 1986? 35,000. I mean, it is so mind-boggling to me that how people can just intentionally forget. I mean, they don't forget. They just want to make it up to fit their comfortably dumb, numb dogma stigma. They don't think about things in their cerebral cortex, but their subconscious is chock full of it. It runs their degenerate behavior. It runs their degenerate life. And there's the pill popping. There's the obesity. There's all the things that come with it, the degenerate behavior. Stuck and dug in to dogma that will not budge out. The American populace, are they the problem here? Well, I don't know. They're a big piece of it, absolutely, obviously. But lack of leaders, political leaders, we always know what political leaders are. I mean, they do nothing but poll where the wind blows. Well, who leads the populace? That's where we make our mistake. Somehow people think that politicians lead the populace. Politicians don't lead the populace. Leaders lead the populace. Where do we get off that these so-called presidents or these Congress or whatever are leaders? They've never been leaders. I mean, we've had leaders in history, historical times. We had FDR, we had, Abraham Lincoln, we had, George Washington, literally. But for the most part, they're nothing but a mouthpiece byproduct of the American populace. Special interest gets away with what they want, big money, because American fucking has drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, look at the polls. Nuclear still exists because America wants it. Look at the polls. They're just where the wind blows. So the problem is the truth, is the reality. Where does that come from? Where do leaders come from? Spiritual leaders. I mean, this country, it's always been through religion, through pop culture, through the art, through the arts. It's always been through the art. It's always been through the arts. Nada. Nothing. Is it the artist's fault? Somewhat. But it's bigger than that. It's the artist gets no platform. That's why I love that YouTube calls YouTube the great equalizer. That's what they'll call it. It really is. I mean, it's the most powerful genre in human history. Used improperly, crowded, ridiculous, the fucking spinners, the fucking analysis of the analysis, the fucking hyperbole, fucking fitting the dogma. Oh, yeah. But without it, I mean, that's how my life was saved. If it wasn't for a YouTube video, I'd be dead. I found a YouTube video with 14 views on it. A doctor in New York sending it out to students, talking about pathologists, talking about how they get it wrong. And he said that tumors like to form in the lower right mesentery of men for some reason, and how difficult those tumors are, and how dynamic they are, and how crazy they are, and how those cancer cells, and how difficult he felt that it was for the pathologist. And pathology is an art form, big time, and that he felt they get it wrong when they get it right. And that's when my light went on that this guy, Silverman here, he's probably got it wrong. Well, he might have it wrong, I'm like you guys, clinging on to hope, trying to find something. When the doctors say you're going to be dead in 2 months, just you're perfectly healthy one day, hey, you'll be dead in 2 months. Multiple doctors, I mean, I didn't accept what they said because it didn't seem right to me. It didn't feel right to me psychologically from my gut. I followed my gut. I got a really crazy story to tell you guys. I mean, I think through this intense cancer fight with me, the good fight, and I think there's a lot of cancer victims out there, and I want people to know this about my YouTube site. This is the one thing these attackers and these freaks who are attacking me while I was in critical condition, not only is that against the law, it's the most immoral thing I've ever seen. Attacking a guy in a wheelchair, I mean, how immoral and illegal is that? But I want people to know there's a huge community, a giant community of people who got sick right after Fukushima with brutal leukemia from around the world that organized around my YouTube site. I go back in and I look at the old comments, and there they are. So many of them have passed. There's a few of them that have lived. We went into Dana's room. Her brother went into Dana's room, and she was dying of this brutal. I mean, she was so beautiful, young, incredible, and she allowed us to video in her room. It was so heartbreaking. She was in there my side every day. Paul Mike, one of my lifelong good friends, every day. He and I, he's gone. Tracy, my good friend. I mean, there's been so many of us. We got to know each other from around, right here, but around the world, around the country. I got a call from a woman in Georgia. This is probably the third or fourth time I've had this call. She says, I want to tell you, Kevin, I never comment, I never want anything, but I want to tell you, you saved my life. I have multiple myeloma just like you. I have a brutal acute leukemia in my body just like you. I'm 60. And I know that the chemo, the older you get, the chances of living. I find it so appalling for a person to come out and say, oh, smoke some weed, here, do this, it'll fix your leukemia, when they don't even know what they're talking about. This is not chronic leukemia. I mean, there's a very distinct, this is acute leukemia that kills you in days. It's probably the most brutal disease a human being could get in their fucking body. Huntington's, those are brutal, horrible diseases too. And, a lot of these cancers are brutal, but a brain tumor, pancreatic cancer, acute leukemia, I mean, you hear those words. To this day, the survival rate is very, very low. It's a brutal cancer. She says, Kevin, I knew that, my only shot was this heavy chemo, and I thought, well, it probably won't work on me. I'm not going to do it. She says, I emailed you on your Facebook page. You didn't know me from anybody, and I told you a little piece, and she says, you got back to me and says, you gave me this paragraph, and you can do it. Just do it. Just do it. It's your only hope. You can survive. I mean, are you strong? Are you spiritual? Or you be a fighter? Be a fighter. And women do better with it than men. I've seen lots of 60-year-old women come out of there. I've seen 60-year-old women that had no shot come out. I mean, with no shot. Because they're fighters. I said, just fucking do it. She called me. She says, I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't been watching your videos and watching your path, and so you do it. So I did it. She says, I'm cancer-free, I'm alive and well, I'm doing good with a type of leukemia that less than 3% survival rate. I've had that call multiple times. There's a lot of people on the site, and I know, it's hard because even YouTube says they made a big mistake in the early days by allowing people to use acronyms in comment boards. They're trying to correct it, they're trying to fix it, they're trying to block the trolls and the rest, because what happened, everybody came through the message board of the 90s and the 2000s, and they automatically assume it's just a message board. So they don't realize that the person that owns the YouTube site has control. They don't realize that we can see where you are, who you are, and what, we have the software, everybody does, it's in a Tier 2 YouTube site to identify where you commented from, how long you watched the video, all that. And so they went in, they knee-jerk with this ridiculous, juvenile, really juvenile, baby, oh, baby boomers, third-grade bullshit. It's a problem. It's a tough gig for a person like me. I've got, how many videos out there? Pushing 1,300, trying to police it. But it has to be. You can't let these fucking freaks attack you. You have to fight them fucking back. He who casts the first stone. I think it's the key to life. I really do. I think it's the key of all life, is when you are attacked randomly for absolutely no reason. No reason. You attack that person back. You kick their ass. And, these punks that use acronyms and, what if, none of them fight the way out of a white paper bag. They're pussies, and they've got no game, they got no sex. They're zeros. They're zeroed out, and that's why they go there. They know they're zeros, so they know they're losers. They've never had anything going on. They never had, anything of substance as far as money, sex, wealth, art, culture, love. I think the one thing that I've learned through this that I knew my whole life, that I didn't realize that other people don't know. There's a group that does know how much I love the environment, how much the best things in life are free. I've always known that. I've always known that since I was a little boy. Always. Maybe growing up on that ranch, I don't know. Or maybe growing up in this place, I don't know. But, San Diego, San Francisco, California, so spectacular. Utah, so spectacular. That people don't get that. People don't go for walks. People don't look. I love that quote of Rachel Carson, which, if you don't think one person can change the world, you don't know anything about Rachel Carson. I had a guy there, a neocon freaking nutcase. These people just make up everything they want. And he had an argument about Rachel Carson. Oh, they proved that her work was wrong. Who proved that her work was wrong? No, her work has been exactly on the money, and it's so true and so perfect that science has proved it over and over how powerful her work and how exact her science was, not to mention her incredible art. There's the problem that people don't get. And I go clear back to Einstein. Yeah, Einstein, maybe some of the theoretical theory and stuff, maybe it had been done before, maybe whatever. But here's the difference between Einstein and other scientists. There's a reason he was the most famous person in the world while he was alive. There's a reason. He was artistic. He was creative. He had a dream when he was young that light bent. He hung on to that fucking dream. He hypothesized. He dreamed. He was creative. When other scientists are not creative. We have no creative scientists. We have a bunch of anal fucking sucking off the fucking tits, sucking off the fucking welfare fucking trough, pieces of dog shit. Fucking hoping that the real estate value in their homes never falls, which it will fall. All the walls will come tumbling down. I want to talk about New York today. I'm headed to San Diego on 9/11. I have a lot of great stories about 9/11. I was a derivative trader when 9/11 happened. We'll talk about this Thursday on 9/11. I got a really special show for 9/11. I'll tell some stories that are really amazing, what I was doing and where I was doing and here, and some incredible fucking stories. One of my students from the university was killed that day at the Pentagon, Brady Howe. He was a brilliant kid. He was just on a recruiting gig that they were going to hire him, and they talked about bad luck. One of my really close friends' mother was on Flight 11. But I can get into it, a lot of the Saudi kids out here and the dynamic out here. I have some amazing stories about it. We'll talk a lot about that on Tuesday. I want to talk about New York. Now, I want to talk culturally, and I want to talk to all you artists that are out there, you writers that are out there, you vloggers and you bloggers, and there's a lot of great vloggers and bloggers with a lot of amazing creativity. I think, I sure wish Jan would come back, Miss Milky the Clown. I mean, isn't it funny how we just take the really good ones for granted? She was so on top of it and so great as far as getting the information out quickly, fast. I mean, it was like when I was looking all over the internet trying to find when the NRC, right before Labor Day, pushed through, illegally. They did it on a reason right before Labor Day, so nobody would be paying attention, pushed through that they made it legal to store nuclear waste on 160 different facilities in the United States. Just leave it there on the 104 reactors and the multiple dump sites. And I'm looking around, there's nobody reporting them, and that's when I realized how much we miss Jan. What incredible work that she did, and important work for the fact that she was all over it. All over it. Which I've been all over it. That chick been all over it from the day very, very, very early. A lot, Shane Russell, a lot of people have been all over this from very, very, very early. But it's important. We take it for granted because we think, because people watch these videos and never comment. And we're moving culture. We're moving culture more than you think. I want to talk about, as an artist, New York City, the Climate March will be marching down 11th Avenue. You can't make this shit up. That's where they're placing us. They're placing us on 11th Avenue, keeping us away from the UN. That's fucking radical. They're really afraid. New York City has changed dramatically since I tried to start my post-ignorance gig in 2011. I tried to correlate it that winter, 2010-11. I'm in New York City at NYU every day, Washington Square, trying to get my post-ignorance movement, which throws a tinsel all over the social inequalities, the economic inequalities, the environment. These things that all matter. Of course, Fukushima happened. I went all in, which rightfully so. But I want to talk about what I believe as the artist. I mean, first and foremost, I'm an artist. I mean, it's period, really. I mean, yeah, economist, historian, oh boy. That's what artists are. Artists understand history. Artists are scholars. Artists are doers. Artists are hard workers. Artists are socioeconomists. Michelangelo. Artist communication. Yes, 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 yes. We have a new genre for our artist communication. YouTube. It's so powerful. I mean, can you imagine those guys with a YouTube camera? Wow. Wow. I mean, so we go back to December the 8th, 1980. This country was filthy, stinking rich. Ran right out of this town. This country was run out of this town. And that's, people say, oh, you're Scott. Well, I was raised by all the Scots here. I mean, this whole town's Scottish. That Lomond Peak, oh, dang, you want to talk Masons? I ain't no Mason. No, I'm a real Mason. I split my own rock. I was a rock Mason for years and years. But I lived in the middle of all the Masons. This town. Ran the fucking world, this town. through the Masonics. They're all Scots. Well, the Scots are getting ready to vote. This goes back into the thesis and the reality and the truth, and the fact of the matter was from 1945 to 1980, nominal wages increased every single year. The strongest middle class in the history of humankind, the most socialized people in the history of humankind, was the United States from 1945 to 1980, bar none. Average hourly wage in today's day, and you can throw that government data out the fucking window because they fucking, figures don't lie, liars figure. $106,000 a year, average. One person working 40 hours. What do you think one person working 40 hours a week? Time and a half, double, because they could raise 5 kids raised comfortably. 1980, election of Reagan? No. I mean, that's a piece of it. But culture shifts. I mean, we want to blame presidents, but Congress wields incredible power, and Congress is representative government. It really is. We can bitch about Congress what all we want, but it really is as the wind blows, as culture moves. They are us. They really are. The polling proves it over and over and over and over. So culture has moved. Well, culture was being moved in a gigantic way all through the 60s and 70s through music, through the arts. One guy was the top of the heap, John Lennon. John Lennon was the most famous person in the world. I mean, that comment he made? I'm more famous than God. He never said he was more important than God. He was a very down-to-earth person. I've been reading his book that he's got, that he wrote letters back and forth. He wrote a lot of letters. And he wrote a lot of letters to his aunt, his uncle, his family, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful. You could see he was so from the heart. But, he left that girl. He was married when he was young. We can't have a married Beatle. And he left Julian. I read Julian's book. And, and I've always been fascinated with Julian's thesis. He says, when my dad died, I didn't know whether to jump up and down or cry. I mean, it falls back into there. My beautiful daughter, who's the designer, lives in Manhattan. Because I was too young to be married, and I wasn't married. I was too young to be shacked up with a girl, way too young. So was she. We're kids. Kids. I got her pregnant the night that John Lennon was killed. But, I wasn't like Lennon. I wasn't like, I didn't bolt. I stayed here and raised my children, and I went back and forth my careers and everything that I did. It wasn't easy. It was hard, but you go back to the day that he was killed in Dakota. It was a Monday night. We're living in a little house over on Brinker. By the way, Fa McKay Brody, who, the great writer she was, died just a few days later right down the street, who I knew personally, very personally, incredible person, brilliant genius, probably the best writer I've ever seen. And that's a lot coming from our Utah, because this is the home of Bernard DeVoto, 44. So, I watched Monday Night Football. The average athlete in those days made less than 3% than the average American. My uncle played in the NFL. My uncle quit in the NFL that raised me. Quit the NFL to go in the fucking Air Force as a fighter pilot for more money in 1960. They didn't make a lot of money, up until they started to make money, right out of San Diego when Winfield got the contract and broke it. It's so sad, the death of Tony Gwynn. He's the only one that really stood his ground. But it's the Patriots-Dolphins game. I'm sitting on the couch in our little apartment, her and I. We had only been living in there for just a short period of time. Very young couple. Just a couple kids. And it comes across, I'm like, oh my God, no. Oh my God. And I don't know if you've ever heard the interview with Howard Cosell, but he's crying. He's broke down. He knew him well. The whole country was crying. So, it was over. With one bullet. Boom. It was over. That's what it's always been. These iconic, incredible figures. Greek tragedy, the greatest American tragedy, maybe ever. In America, yeah, he was an Englishman, but he was changing the world. Oh, not changing the world. He did change the world. The story of this creep that killed him. He was having sex with his own mother. He'd gone inside the James Earl Ray of our time because he wrote Imagine. I mean, he got so radical. He was a far-right radical terrorist. Insane. You know, went insane on the God thesis. That's what we've done in this country. It's the same thing. Since he killed him, he started it. You think about it. The opposite of any teaching of Jesus Christ, and these people say they're Jesus Christ, and they just go kill. Jesus Christ would have never killed anyone. Under any circumstances, thou shalt not kill. I mean, so they flipped culture on its head, artistically. Now, all music out of New York City and, I mean, all visual art combination really evolved out of Andy Warhol and John Lennon. I mean, iconic, gigantic, cultural, artistic giants. Every bit as big as Mozart, Beethoven, every bit as Michelangelo, you know, Leonardo, every bit as big. Cultural giants. Everything evolved from them. Everything was that. They were the representative of what was going on. This country was getting more fair. This country was getting more equality. This country was getting happy in so many ways. Boom, one shot, it was over in front of the Dakota. Now think about this. It follows back into Fukushima. Yoko Ono. She's Japanese. Elitist. Royal family. The Japanese elitists, you want to talk fascism, and that's where we jump right over the Japanese pieces. The Japanese were every fucking bit as fucking evil and fucking race-oriented for hundreds of years than the fucking Italian fascists and the German fascists ever fucking dreamed to be. They felt like they were the elite. They've always thought that. They lived in a feudal fucking shogun fucking system for hundreds and hundreds of years. They were evil fuckers, the fucking royals, to their own populace. To the Chinese, to the Vietnamese. Oh my God. Oh my God. Beyond fucking evil. Oppenheimer said it himself. Kill the fucking emperor. Kill the emperor. No. So, she came out of that fucking gig. She stalked him. Now, and if you don't think she was one sick, evil fucking bitch, and she still thinks she's in the art establishment in New York City, which she's never been an artist, never been any. She's the anti-art. Pure fucking evil. Because she's elitist. Now, how she got her claws into fucking land, I mean, we could go into fucking 800 fucking psychological books about that. But she did it. Listen to the recordings. They were recording that crazy fucking album of hers. That day. That day. You ever listen to those recordings? Pull them up on YouTube. It's beyond sick. It's insane. I mean, it's beyond insane. John Lennon's fucking death was the day that fucking culture flipped on its head. It completely flipped it. Now, it took a long time, but it was the death. Just a few short later, the same exact time as they flipped the Fed with Alan Reisman, all in Manhattan. I believe it was the same month that Andy Warhol was killed, died in that surgery. I believe, and I honestly believe, the artist in me. And if you don't believe me, you think about the music. The music in the 80s, a lot of it was spectacular. But it was dying. To the point, by the time it got to the mid-90s, it was dead. Completely dead. Now you think about Tom Schultz, Boston, who's always been the anti-corporate guy. MIT, anybody who ever graduated MIT seems to be, they must have something there. They're the creeps of all fucking creeps. I went and saw him. You know, Brad Delp died. That Bond died. He's the biggest fraud ever. He actually introduced, we have a special guest from American Idol. And I'm not fucking kidding. A fraud. Had pretty dolphins swimming in the back fucking screens, raising money. And I asked their people about Fukushima. They didn't know what Fukushima was. They're frauds. Music is a fraud. There is no music. There is no fucking music. So we'll go marching down 7th Avenue. La la la. La la 7,11. We'll fucking march down 11th Avenue. It's just 7th Avenue. La 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 la. La 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 la. It's all fucking lies. The art died. There's, you know, I've seen some beautiful art, and what kills me about the MoMA, which I'm connected to that fucking MoMA, fucking big time, which they are the museum, which they have heavy roots of Ogden, Utah. The philanthropists. So, is the leaders. So, I'm watching the interview with Deschamps, with that incredible curator. You know, and I've always known this, that it's not the artists. They need a platform. These guys have blocked the platforms because they know that. They know that. They've blocked the music. They block the artists. They block anything that moves culture. They take them out. They take them out, and how they do it the same way that James Earl, and do not kid yourself, James Earl Ray killed fucking Martin Luther King. He can lie all his fucking want. I don't care if Martin Luther King's fucking kid or whoever fucking interview. I find it disgraceful. That fucker killed him. And who incited him? Us, the American populace, the media. The media does it. The media. That box, he would sit around going from hotel to hotel. He was a lost fucking soul. And that box just fucking wound him up and wound him up and wound him up and wound him up, and he did it. There's no doubt in my mind he fucking did it. Now, the Kennedys, them are different stories. I mean, John Kennedy, I believe, you know, people call me crazy, I believe the nuclear cartel killed John Kennedy. You know, he signed it. He signed it. You know, look it up. July 26, 1963. You know, that new footage that's coming out of Hanford, you know, against everybody's wishes. And that ties back into San Diego, you know, in a lot of ways. What's happened to San Diego in my lifetime? I mean, hook, line, sinker, they drank the Kool-Aid down. They turned it into a concrete jungle. They ruined San Diego in so many ways. San Diego it's such a special, spectacular, incredible fucking place, and always was, especially when I was a boy or whatever. But the Navy ruined it? Yeah. And not the good Navy, the bad Navy. So you got good Navy, bad Navy, you got good Marine, bad Marine, you got good fucking all of it, bad cop, good cop, and the bad ones took the field. The Donald Rumsfelds of the world, the Dick Cheneys of the fucking world. These are some of the greatest, well, probably the greatest war criminals in the history of mankind. Nothing happens to them. And you do not kid yourself, right as they evolved this whole fucking plan, this ISIS shit, it's all war profiteering. It's nothing but to sell fucking weapons, which, look it up. Obama gave a speech here, a month and a half ago, we were going to start selling weapons again. Now, who they're selling to, who fucking knows? They just make this shit up. So they create this boogeyman, they create the fucking Pay the Dragon Slayer, and then we go down. It's proven that Iraq was a total fraud. The whole thing, all fraud, proven, unarguable. Yet Fox News beats the fucking war drums, run out of the fucking house. Fox News is run directly out of fucking the House of Windsor. Right out of it. I mean, they're everything American. They're everything America never stood for. Wrap themselves up in a flag when they're the opposite of the flag. They're the most unpatriotic people on the... Anybody who watches Fox News, especially the fucking far radical fucking right, and the fucking radical fucking left, well, they ain't even radical. They're fucking... They think they're elitist left. They're so pathetic. They're so pathetic. They compromised any fucking true fucking human being. You know? They compromised them. The left's fucking pathetic. Pathetic. I mean, beyond pathetic. It's disgusting. Oh, we're liberals. Fuck. The left used to be progressives. They don't get anything fucking done. You know, it's a club to fucking rob and thief. The far fucking radical insane right? Oh, my God, they're insane. They're the guy who killed fucking Lenin. They hate the fucking art. They blew up the big Buddhas. They fucking blew up a fucking Frank Lloyd Wright at my elementary school. They're rewriting history. They took the fucking marker down at Old Town in fucking San Diego. My grandpa's name on the fucking top of it. Rewriting history. They're insane. And you go into Mormon fucking theology, it's the exact same theology as the fucking, exact identical as the Muslim theology. They both come from the Book of Abraham. They both believe the same thing. They both believe that you go to fucking heaven, the men hold the fucking roost, period. They pray to a fucking planet called Kabbalah. You become royal. You get to the celestial kingdom, you become royal, and you get your own planet with fucking multiple virgins. Look it up. The Muslims, they're the same exact faith. They're identical. They treat their women exactly the same thing. They blow up the fucking heart. There's no fucking heart. Fuck. Are you kidding me? That's what America's fucking involved into. And Blanch spiritual. Now you think about the evangelical leaders in this country. Yeah, so many of them have always been fucking radical and insane. But some of them have been pretty fucking good. But not now. They've taken on. I mean, you drive up, you're so fucking poor and impoverished. You know, Jesus fucking died so I could be rich. That's Joe and his trophy wife. I mean, God. She's so grotesque. She makes me fucking sick. I mean, it's completely the opposite of Jesus Christ teaching. Completely the opposite. Feed the hungry, feed the poor, heal the fucking sick. I mean, it is obscene. And the populace goes around because Foxconn News run right out of here. So fucking House of Windsor, this country was the tariff nation to block the East India Company. Look it up. It's the Act of 1789 before the Bill of Rights. This country is not a fucking democracy. Never was a democracy. It's a republic with a constitution. Mission accomplished. When they put in the Patriot Act, the fucking Constitution's over, gone. Also, and by the way, they left the Ninth Amendment open. People want to quote the first, the second. They don't even know the fucking fifth, sixth, seventh, or eighth, which are just every bit important. They did the first 10 at once, the Bill of Rights. Now you think about this. It's been amended how many times? 17 times. I mean, some pretty crazy amendments. Prohibition? Yeah. 18th, pulled back. What about the 19th? Shirtwaist fire in New York City. When was the last time it was amended? 70s. It's the longest it's ever went without amendment? Yeah, I believe so. Because we have a radical, insane Congress. The do-nothing Congress, I always loved Truman's whistle stop. I was a speechwriter for a while, by the way. I did some speech writing, and they said, oh, you're too intense, you're too radical. We've seen who was wrong and who was right. I needed to be more intense and more radical. Look at it. Look what we've evolved to. Mission accomplished. We have a president, and this, I don't give a fuck where your dogma burger goes. I don't give a fuck. The 2000 election, we have the Electoral College for one reason. The Electoral College so big states don't control elections. That's the whole basis of the Electoral College. So the big populated states don't control fucking entire fucking votes to give states' rights. To be honest with you, too, the election wasn't even close. The election was not close. Gore won by a fucking landslide. I mean, do the Electoral College. And by the way, I love, Silverman from the New York Times, he had it right. Go to fucking YouTube. I only know one guy that had the Electoral College exactly right to the number and did multiple videos over to the exact number. Me. To the exact number. These polls lie. These fucking idiots lie. Fucking American populace goes along with the lies because they tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. They love fucking lies. America loves lies, and I can prove that they fucking love lies. So the election wasn't even close, so they give them state rights. That's why we have the Electoral College. So what's the old joke? You know, how many votes would it take to become president of the United States? 5 Supreme Court justices and your daddy? Who put them there? Now, let's go back in history. They vote at remember the Florida Supreme Court? Remember it was like Wizard of Oz. You'd be sitting there watching and a little window would come out and it'd be fucking, one of the Oompa Loompas or somebody fucking sticking their head out. And this is the decision. I mean, it was freaky. Even had a little fucking road like the fucking Yellow Brick Road. They vote, the fucking count goes on. Now you read the fucking decision. Read the decision. People say, the United States ruled that fucking Bush won. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They ruled that there's not enough time because they knew they couldn't rule that way. And they're not a court. They're a political apparatus. They're not a court. They're illegitimate. Read Byers' dissension. It's exact words. Read William Tribes, the fucking expert at Harvard, says the same thing. So, they ruled that he stole it. Now, think about the dynamic. You got the cousin of George Bush, George Walker, Bush, Walker, the House of Windsor, fucking Fox News being run by the Walker descendants, right, out of the House of Windsor, Rupert Murdoch, Rhodes Scholar at Oxford, fucking Bill Clinton. They're the same fucking, the House of Windsor. Everything this country stood against, everything this country was the opposite of the royal system. We don't believe in inherited wealth. We don't believe that you're born into wealth. This country's fucking was the opposite. They hated that. Now that's exactly what we are. We're there. We've been colonized by fucking England. We're a colony of England, and we're so stupid we'll spend all our money. They don't even have to spend anything to use this big fucking threatening fucking pay the Dragon Slayer war machine, because the American fucking Fox News has these Kool-Aid drinking fuckers all in. All in. They'll fork over the whole thing. All they're going to do is, hey, ISIS fucking did this. Fucking, there's some anthrax in your fucking town, and just fucking fearmonger, and these fucking cowards go for it. They're all fucking cowards. America, home of the coward. They're going to start putting up the airports. So it does not win. That has nothing to do with political, ideological dogma. It's just the facts. So, back to 9/11. 7 different agencies go in there and count the votes. 7. Women League of Voters, all of them. All 7 determined that Gore won, and it wasn't even close. Now, think about it. You're talking Bush's brother's governor. What about Kathleen Harris? Well, you don't see anything from that lunatic crazy. Well, how much money she walked away with it? She's probably living in fucking, my guess she's living in fucking the hills of fucking England somewhere. She probably has her own castle. You know, but, you know, I don't know. So, it's due out September 21st is the New York, the vote is due to be, they'll release their results. Of course, 9/11 happens. They release their votes. Cole win by a long side. Wasn't even close, which made him win the Electoral College by a huge fucking margin. Which Gore's a piece of dog shit. We know that. That's why he laid down and went along with it, because he's part of the fucking problem. He's the fucking bloodlines of fucking Burr. He's a piece of dog shit. One of the greatest pieces of dog shit in American history. Al Gore. The fucking rape artist. He's raped 2 different fucking massage therapists in San Francisco on 2 separate instances and got away with it. Gavin let him off the hook. Why? Why did he let him off the hook? Not once, but twice. Oh, I'm green? That fucker's, again, opposite. He's the opposite of fucking green. Built that fucking McMansion, fucking his Apple stock and his fucking Google. He's given board of directors. He's on the board of directors at Apple and Google. Just hand it to him. Here, you stand down, we'll give you this. We'll make you a gazillionaire. You can sit there with that ugly, pointed fucking hawk nose of yours and grin like that shit-eating stupid. I mean, that has got to be one of the ugliest fucking human beings in history. Fucking, just like Burr. I mean, he even looked like that creepy Burr. Thought like, I mean, we're talking some of the greatest creeps in American history. Burr killed Hamilton. One of the greatest creeps in world history. I mean, I wonder how that fucker's soul likes fucking being out there in a black hole for time and all eternity. Bush did not win. So, the New York Times, they come out and says, oh, we can't run the story. What? Nobody, no media in the fucking country would run the story. Not CNN, not Fox, not fucking ABC, none of it. It got buried. It finally showed up in November on page 29, I believe. You know, everybody's fucking, go kill some fucking Muslims, fucking, wow, when they were fucking 16 or 19 were Saudis. You know, and I got some great stories about the Saudis and here, and I'll talk about it on Thursday, as I'm getting ready to fly to San Diego on Thursday. By the way, check plane flights on 9/11, how cheap they are. It just proves what cowards America still is. They're still afraid. You can buy a fucking plane ticket on 9/11 for fucking 33 cents on the dollar. Anywhere you want to fly. Because Americans are fucking cowards. This is the coward fucking nation. The biggest coward nation in human history. Go drone some more babies. Who fucking Saddam's kids are gonna get us? Saddam's gonna get us. Saddam was a doofus motherfucker, just like fucking money and fucking booze. And fucking, I mean, he fucking is the military. Colin Powell, that phony uncle, the greatest Uncle Tom in history was Colin Powell. Until Barack Obama became president, he passed him. And by the way, Lonnie Clark and I are the one that named him Uncle Tom Obama. A long time ago. By the way, I'm the one that named the Mountain Manor Massacre the first 9/11. A lot of these things. And there's proof. That's the beauty of YouTube. So when these fuckers try to steal all this shit, future generations will mitigate. You know, what's his name would have had a YouTube camera and been able to record it in history when Robert Plant sold Stairway to Heaven. He could have sued his fucking, he did sue his fucking ass 30 years later and won. These fucking people are fucking thieves. I'm so fucking excited about fucking the Scots leaving. William Wallace is a very, very real man, 700 years. 1297. They killed his girl. That's a fact. The sheriff fucking murdered his beautiful girl. That part of that movie is very historically accurate. And there's a lot of it. Of course, they took major liberties. But the crux of the story is very, very real. Very real. They killed him. He avenged that fucking murder. I love it. When he makes that quote, and he says that quote, by the way, you'll see, I'm putting up a video today, and I'll tie this in, and it'll blow your mind. I'm sitting there yesterday preparing for my 9/11 videos. I put a lot of work into the videos. I'm at the university doing a lot of work and putting in our Reich fucking writing lab, the War Profiteer lab, and I'm putting this all together, and I have a lot of viewers in Scotland, and we're talking back and forth, and through this good fight of mine, I really believe that I've tapped into some incredible powers. I really believe that. And a lot of people that survive cancer and leukemia will tell you the same thing, that they've really tapped in to something. I really feel like I tapped into something spiritually. Every time I've been down and out on this thing. I've been in some very fearful places. I fork over all my money. Come on. I had 1,000 shares of Apple stock. I mean, by the way, get ready what they're introducing today. From the rumors I hear, whoa. And yeah, guess who's going to play at the fucking thing here in a couple hours? Yeah, you too. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. That phony fraud fucking who stole Bongo's trousers? He never fucking had any. So, I'm preparing for this, and because the vote's coming up in Scotland the 18th. It's a very, very big deal. They're going to leave the. It's a very big deal. Culturally, as a socioeconomist, I look at things like this. It's a gigantic move in the right direction to strip some of this fucking power away from these sickening fuckers, just like they did 700 years ago. So there's the one quote that I know is a very, very. My children, 3 of my children, are direct descendants of William Wallace and their mother. And I'm looking through there, and I know that the one quote is very real that he said. And I love that quote, and they quote it in the movie. It's brilliant. By the way, Mel Gibson is brilliant in that fucking movie. And they go through there, and he says, the whole fucking big army son there, and their small little ragtag fucking bunch that he's acquired there, he says, lay down your arms, and you march back to your king, and you tell him, William Wallace will not surrender. And you march back and you stop at every village in Scotland and you apologize for hundreds of years of rape, murder, and theft. Fuck you. And that's a very real quote. Well, I'm looking through there and I'm preparing for my 9/11 videos because I want to tie the 9/11 into the Mountain Meadow Massacre. I'm the one that named it, and you guys have seen. I'm the one that hiked up to that mountain in critical condition because I thought I was going to die, and I've always wanted to do it. When I was a boy, they said you can still see the rocks pushed up in Echo Canyon. They're still there, and you can see them that's where the Utah War started, which evolved into the Mountain Meadow Massacre. Well, my grandfather is Ike Potter. Ike Potter is my great-great-grandfather. That's my grandma, Ella Potter Hunsaker, and then Abe. I mean, I come from those 2 were married. Talk about a synergy of Mormon icons. And they killed Ike up there, but I've looked for years for those rocks. I found a book in the Utah Historical, and a guy had photographed those rocks. His name was Eldridge Colville. Monument of Ike's fucking body at fucking Colville. Ike was an amazing dude. Spoke 5 Indian tribes languages, but he held off Johnson's army. He would build fires up through there. They thought there were hundreds of guys when there weren't. There were a handful. Him and his native bunch. And the fight was over his wife, these fucking Mormon creeps. I mean, these Mormons are creepy motherfuckers, boy, and that's what that was. The famous historian, my grandmother, really documented heavy that it was, simply, in those days, there was a good-looking woman, married, had kids, where these guys just come in and says, I had a vision, she's mine, bye, I see you. They tried that shit with Ike, with one of his wives, he's like, fuck you, go fuck yourself. Try me, fuckers. So they tried him. So this guy there's a photograph. Well, I found him. It took me a long time to find him. So I hiked up on Easter. And I correlated that day, 3/31/12, I believe I did it. Or was it 13? But I was still very sick, and it's a beast of a fucking hike. But I'm a good hiker. I had my gear. Got up there. First one to ever video it, ever. And by the way, I named the Mountain Meadow Massacre the first 9/11 the day after 9/11/2001. And it's documented. That's my term. Mountain Massacre happened on 9/11. So I'm going to do a video today, tomorrow. Which is a horrible, horrific fucking story that the Mormons covered up forever. They admit it now. Was it ordered by Brigham Young? There's no doubt in my mind. So I video it. Then I get back, and a cousin of mine, I run into him at my aunt's funeral. And he's written a book, which he stole that from me, Porter versus Potter. That was stole right from me right off YouTube, but he's a fucking doofus fucker anyway. And I saw his book. He made this little fucking quirky, goofy fucking book, which is a poorly written book anyway. I'm like, whatever, dude. Have that fucker. And so I'm reading through there, and there was always a debate who actually killed Ike. And I look, and I'm like, this is the spirits that are in me with this cancer fight. It says that the guy that photographed its grandfather, great-grandfather, is the one who killed it. So the first guy who videoed it, and the first guy who photoed it, the only guy that have ever photoed it, and the only guy that's ever videoed it, He left a marker on one of the rocks, too, and it's still there. I left it there, and then I put one of my little markers in between two of the rocks there. Someday historical. I'm the very first one to ever video it. So the first guy that videoed is the great-great-grandson of the guy that was killed by the guy who photographed his great-great-grandfather. You can't make that shit up. So I'm going through this Scottish stuff yesterday, and, Will and Wall's trying to tie it in, and I look, and that quote, I'm like, oh, my God, because I'm big on dates, if you haven't noticed. He said it 9/10. 9/10. Right as I do it, and right as I told somebody in Scotland, I said, I really feel a lot of spiritual power with me and a connection to a lot of the powers, because not through bloodlines, be through the good fight. Because that's what we're doing. We're standing up against the giant fucking masses of the elite powers, the very tiny few. It's exactly what he did. It's happened historically over and over. That's what our ancestors did as far as Hamilton right there in Brooklyn. George Washington. They stood up to the East India Company. But nobody stands up now because we're all fucking cowards. And it's a very simple concept to take this country back until 3/11/11 happened. The concept is called tariffs. It's the only way. You can't compete with a 2 billion workforce, but you can't even have that conversation because your dogma has fucking ate you up, lock, stock, fucking barrel. You believe you're going to become one of the elitists, and that's what everybody wants to do. It's this over-the-top competitive society that believes 85% of people on Social Security still believe they're going to be millionaires. They've bought into it. They bought into it. Fucker. They hate each other. All they want to do is compete with each other, and I can prove this. I can prove, and to tell the truth, they hate the truth because they bought into this fairy tale. They're going to be Cinderella. They're all going to be Cinderella. And this prince is going to ride up and save them. They're going to be rich, the women. The fucking men, they're fucking poor, but they think, oh, fuck all you guys. I'm right. You're fucking wrong. I'm a rich one. None of them are ever going to be rich. They're going to cling onto their gold bars and go into the poorhouse. And they're never going to get anywhere. In the meantime, they're wasting their whole fucking lives away waiting for the fucking main event when the main event fucking happened 3/11/11. Fukushima's not going away. It's bigger than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was bigger than it was the day before, and so on for 1,280 fucking days. Fukushima is not going away. It is the great equalizer in the history of mankind. It's the greatest event, and art is communication. Michelangelo, direct quote, Semper Fi, Michelangelo, direct quote. To understand fucking culture and society is to understand history, not in what you want it to be, in what it really has been, and what it is the quintessential fucking Greek tragedy. It is the quintessential fucking Hamilton tragedy, Abraham Lincoln tragedy, over and over and over, the death of John Lennon. These are tragedies done by haters, as the haters take out the fucking power, because people hate the truth. They've always hated the truth. Hamilton was the truth. Burr couldn't handle the fucking truth. John Lennon was the truth. They couldn't handle it. So this creepy fucking Japanese royal fucking strings him along to his fucking death. This creep kills him. In the name of what? It's all opposite. They're devils. It is a quintessential fight between good and evil. I stand on the side of good, which is a very lonely, lonely place to stand. I stand on the side of truth. Aaron Swartz stood on the side of truth. I was standing in Williamsburg. I had no idea. On January 11th. Very sick. Broke down crying that day. The only time I really broke down this cancer fight. I broke down twice. And that was one time my daughter was like, now I know. And, I felt the vibe of my father. My father died January 11th. Aaron Swartz died January 11th. The most covered-up story. And you go to RT and Tom Chin, the most covered-up stories in America. The biggest stories unreported. RT reports. John Anthony Fair, who's organized the Million Masked Man Riots. That I was there and we led it. I mean, it was a powerhouse fucking movement. We got no media, and without the media, we got shit. And everybody's still waiting around for CNN and Fox News to give them confirmation that Fukushima is the greatest ecological catastrophe in fucking human history. They're still waiting for fucking Fox News and CNN to tell them. You can prove it. When I reported that flash fire, whatever the fuck it was, May 20, you could see what it is what it is. Someday we'll figure it out. I call it Fook Tony, but no one really knows what it was. Everybody, even the quintessential vloggers and bloggers and fucking anti-nuclear fighters are sitting around saying, oh no, they're still looking at the television. They're still going to fucking print media. They're still going to Fox and CNN and ABC, NBC looking for confirmation. We saved all the emails. I can prove it. Still waiting for confirmation of the main event. when the main event happened. This is a lonely, lonely, lonely fight. To tell the truth is to die. It's always been that way. But this trumps everything. This is the biggest subject matter. Fukushima into the Pacific Ocean. Fukushima into the atmosphere. It's like a guy says, oh, yeah, you say fucking Utah got hit the hardest. That's not my words. That's the French government's fucking words. These people are so ignorant that those things blew up. They blew up, and the fucking jet stream caught them. And it was where it was rained. And it rained on the Rockies of Utah. Right here. And these people are too ignorant to fucking do fucking 30 minutes worth of work and fucking dig in. The great equalizer, the information age is powerful, but people don't use it because it's so crowded and there's so much ridiculous fucking hyperbole bullshit out there. It's hard to weed fucking through. Everybody's a fucking expert on nothing. And they are. They really are experts on nothingness. 99.999% of every commentary, fucking writer, artist, news other, communication, fucking whatever they are, 99.9999999999999% of them are fucking worthless. They're experts on zero. They're experts on zero. Zero. It's all fucking, all we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Goo Goo. To tell the truth is to die. I am Pat fucking Tillman. He had a journal. The most famous man in America was ordered execution murder right from Dick Cheney's mouth. And the military brass, which those creepy fuckers. I mean, I like how you guys, oh, these heroes, oh, he's a 5-star general. Fuck those fucking 5-star generals right in their ass. Fuck every one of them. They're fucking mass murdering creeps. I don't fucking buy into that shit, and I come from a military family, and I'm quoting Audie Murphy, and I'm quoting all these. When we fought fucking World War II, it was the drafted kids that came off farms that won that fucking thing, not a bunch of... You think about what's his name, the general who fucked everybody in Italy. Made the wrong decision, got those boys slaughtered. Fuck these fuckers. I walk around these fucking big McChrystal. Think about that ugly bitch that was having sex with him. Fucking. That is the problem, these sick bitches. Fuck the military. Fuck them. Fuck them. What are they going to do to me? They're fucking rats. They're grotesque. They're sickening. Heroes ain't heroes. They're victims. The military personnel, I love the personnel. Semper Fi. I love the Marine Corps. I love all Marines. I love all Navy personnel. But I'm talking about up at the fucking brass, the Dick Cheneys of the fucking world, the McChrystals of the fucking world, the general betrayers of the world. That's what they've done. They use their own fucking men as human lab rats as guinea pigs. That's what they did to my dad, and there is absolutely no doubt in my mind. They went in with the USS Reagan, and they human lab ratted those. They knew exactly what they were fucking doing. They're like, send them in, see how long it takes them to die. I'm sure those conversations were had by the high brass inside the Navy. Because they're sick, evil fuckers. Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney, these people are sick. I kept waiting for Rumsfeld to unfucking zip and fucking McNamara to walk out. That creep finally died. I kept waiting for that. These are sick. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind, and I have the fucking emails to prove it. The Navy fucking knew there was a multiple three-quarter meltdowns and blowing up, and they still sent it in. Everybody says, oh, it was a rescue mission. The fuck it was. It was a human experiment on human lab rat experiment. Ran from the eugenics. John Holdren, made the fucking order. The eugenics guy. Just like they did the 40,000 Marines. I used to tell this story about my father. They knew they were going to kill him. They did it anyway. That's what they did to the kids, the Reagan. Then bring them home, and they're so evil, let's have a Little League football camp on. Let's bring the Japanese Americans and have a 311 memorial on it. Let's have the San Diego Chargers fucking practice on it. Mark my words. How many of the Chargers will end up dying of cancer? It'll happen, but that's the problem. It'll be down the road as Fukushima gets worse and worse and worse. These sick fuckers. And Foxconn News has the American populace. The American populace has turned into James Earl Ray. They don't have to do it. Fox News will get these fucking lunatic, radical fucking idiots wound up, these unpatriots. Fox News is the most unpatriotic fucking people in the history of America, bar none. The fundamental foundation of all America is the opposite of everything Fox News is. All of it. Exactly the opposite. They wrap themselves up in a flag when the opposite of the flag. The fundamental foundation of America was the tariff nation. 8 employees at the port.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Boomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call